Okay, let's unpack this. The Imola qualifying session, definitely more twists and turns than the circuit itself, you could say.
Absolutely.
And thankfully for you, we've sort of boiled down the key moments. No need for a pit stop here.
Right.
We've dived into the Motorsports by Alex reports. And our mission today, well, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
We want to understand what actually happened in that really thrilling session. You know, who came out on top, the surprises.
There are a few of those.
And what it might all mean for the race itself. So for you, the learner, this is your fast track. Get up to speed on what mattered without getting bogged down in all the technical jargon.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how the whole expected story for the weekend was, well, genuinely challenged right from qualifying.
Yeah.
We saw several outcomes that were, let's say, unexpected.
Yeah.
And they could really shape the Grand Prix.
And the biggest unexpected one, it'd have to be Piastri on pole. Oscar Piastri.
Wow, yeah.
In the McLaren, snatching that top spot from Verstappen, from Red Bull, right at the very, very end.
Talk about drama.
Exactly. Happened just as the checkered flag was waving.
Yeah.
And the gap, tiny, like 0.03 of a second.
Incredible margin.
Piastri himself said it was a very tough session, you know, many delays and red flags, but he was clearly thrilled. Said he was happy with the work done.
As you would be.
And felt they had enough pace to do it. I mean, calling it a shock result feels almost like an understatement, wouldn't you say?
It really does. It just highlights that immense pressure in qualifying, doesn't it? That final lap, everything has to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And Piastri delivering like that, under that pressure, well, it says a lot about his progress and, frankly, about the clear improvements McLaren have made.
Definitely. Okay, moving on to another, well, surprising performance. Let's talk about Russell. Mercedes.
83.
He got third place, which is a strong result anyway, but the strategy, that was the unexpected bit. He went for medium tires in Q3.
Bold move.
Yeah. And his own take. He felt the mediums could be fast and that it was a good decision. Called it a great lap, actually. Said he didn't think he could have done better than third.
Interesting perspective.
So that gamble definitely paid off in qualifying. So tell me about those medium tires. How do they normally stack up against softs in qual? Is it like more consistent grip or is it usually just slower?
Well, that's a key question, right? Typically, the softs, they give you the most grip for that one killer lap. That's what you want in qualifying.
Right, the peak performance.
Exactly. Mediums usually have a bit less initial bite, but they tend to last longer, be more durable. So Russell's gamble, it suggests maybe the track conditions changed. Yeah, maybe towards the end of Q3, the mediums offered more consistent performance. Or maybe Mercedes just felt they'd get better grip levels from them on that final push. Who knows? But it definitely raises interesting questions, you know, about which tires might be best for the start of the race if the conditions stay like this.
Yeah, good point. Okay, now let's slip to Max Verstappen. He was on provisional pole for a good bit of Q3.
He was leading after the first runs, yeah.
Led after those initial runs, but then couldn't improve on his final try. And he actually sounded a bit worried afterwards.
Oh.
Yeah, he mentioned that everything was going very well, but it's very difficult to stay on the soft tire for the whole lap. He even said they may be two soft tires for this track.
Wow, okay. That's significant.
Right, and he hoped to have good pace and save the tires tomorrow. It's quite an observation from the championship leader.
If you think about it, Verstappen's comments really underline how crucial tire management is, especially at a demanding place like Imola. His inability to get more out of that final soft tire run, plus his concern about how they'll last, it suggests the race might really favor those who can manage wear the best.
Makes sense.
Historically, Imola's surface, those high-speed corners, they can be really tough on the softer tires. So his comments might even hint that Red Bull are thinking about a different race strategy compared to their rivals.
Yeah, interesting angle. And it wasn't just Piastri flying the flag for McLaren, was it? Lando Norris qualified right behind Russell, P4.
Yeah, strong showing for McLaren overall.
Showing some serious pace for the team.
Yeah.
It really looks like McLaren brought a very competitive package to Imola. Both cars in the top four, what's that tell us? Is it just this track suits them, or are they genuinely closing that gap?
Well, having both drivers up there that high, it certainly points to a big step forward for McLaren's performance generally.
Yeah.
Now, sure, specific tracks can favor certain cars sometimes, but this kind of consistent pace from both drivers, it suggests the upgrades they've brought are working well everywhere.
Right.
It'll be fascinating, though, to see if they can keep that performance level up for the whole race distance. Because like we said, tire management is key.
True.
But it definitely puts more pressure on those established frontrunners, Red Bull, Ferrari.
No doubt. Okay, another really compelling story from qualifying Aston Martin and Fernando Alonso.
Ah, yes, Alonso, P5.
Fifth.
Yeah.
That's his best qualifying all year. His previous best was only P12, apparently.
Quite a jump.
And Imola, the report calls it his talismanic circuit, where he had that famous win way back in 2005.
A legendary race.
And there's this emotional side, too. The family of his late physiotherapist was there. The report suggests that might have given him some extra motivation.
Could be.
Plus, it seems like new parts on the car and a good understanding that it likes the medium tires. It all just came together for him in quali, perfectly.
Alonso's performance is a great example of how all these different things can just align in F1, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the emotional connection, the family being there, that adds a personal layer for sure. But the report specifically mentions new parts.
Right, the upgrades.
And the fact these upgrades seem to work well with that medium tire preference. It points to a really clear, effective development path for Aston Martin, at least at this track.
Good point.
It's just a reminder that, yeah, the human element matters, but you also need those real, tangible car improvements for such a big leap.
Absolutely. And right behind Alonso, Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari, qualified sixth, just 1,000th of a second behind him.
So close.
The report says he actually equaled his best grid spot of 2025, even though he started his final run a bit late. Might have affected his tire prep, maybe?
Possibly, yeah. Getting the tires in the window is critical.
But interestingly, he apparently showed the fourth fastest race pace in practice. So even with a slightly messy quali, he could still be a real threat in the race.
Sainz's qualifying, it really highlights Ferrari's underlying potential race pace, doesn't it? Even if that final lap wasn't quite perfect, his practice speed suggests he's got the pace to be a factor on Sunday. Starting so near, Alonso sets up a nice little battle early on.
That should be good.
And his race pace might let him challenge the guys ahead.
Okay, now for the flip side. The home race nightmare for Ferrari.
Oof.
Both Leclerc and Hamilton didn't even make it into Q3. Ended up P11 and P12.
Not what the Tifosi wanted to see.
Definitely not. The report mentions Hamilton was complaining about brake issues all through practice.
That's a serious worry.
And Leclerc's reaction, just, oh my God, apparently repeated 3 times. Hamilton even apologized to the team, said, sorry, guys.
Yeah, you can feel the disappointment. It's a massive setback for Ferrari, isn't it? At their home Grand Prix. Missing Q3 with both cars.
No.
What kind of underlying problems could cause that?
Well, for a team like Ferrari, yeah, missing Q3 at home it's a big deal. It suggests there might be something pretty fundamental, maybe with the setup or just the car's overall performance here this weekend. Hamilton's brake issues, that's a serious concern they absolutely have to investigate before the race.
For sure.
And Leclerc's reaction, well, it just tells you everything about their expectations coming into this, doesn't it? They've got a huge challenge now to recover positions on Sunday.
Definitely uphill. And it was also a bit disappointing for another home favorite, the rookie Kimi Antonelli. Ah, yes, P13 for him.
Qualified 13th, yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't match his teammate Russell's pace, obviously, given Russell's P3. Tough lesson in his first home GP quali.
It is.
Being that far behind his teammate. What does that tell us about the pressures on a young driver in F1, especially at home?
Look, Antonelli is still very, very early in his F1 career, and that gap to a really experienced, informed teammate like Russell in qualifying, it just shows you how steep that learning curve is.
Yeah, it's huge.
And you add the pressure of performing well at home, that can be a big factor for a rookie. So, yeah, the result's disappointing for the fans, but it's all valuable experience he's banking in his first season.
True. We also had a fair bit of drama further down the grid, too.
Oh, yeah.
Colapinto in the Alpine crashed right at the end of Q1, and he couldn't run in Q2. Thankfully, reports say he was okay after a checkup.
Good to hear.
Lawson and Hülkenberg just missed out on Q2. Hülkenberg apparently made a mistake on his last lap.
Ah, costly.
Haas had a really tough time, both drivers out in Q1. Bierman even had a lap time deleted because of the red flag.
Right, that complicates things.
And then there was Tsunoda's crash in Q1. Quite dramatic, actually. His car flipped after hitting the barrier.
Oh, really?
Yeah, incredibly. He walked away okay. But yeah, qualifying certainly had its share of incidents. That Tsunoda crash sounds pretty severe. What happens immediately for a team when a driver has a big shunt like that in qualifying?
Well, yeah, crashes like that in qualifying, they have several immediate impacts. First, obviously, is the car damage. It can be huge, needing massive repairs, maybe even a full chassis change before the race.
A lot of work for the mechanics.
Huge pressure on the mechanics, exactly. Second, it throws your strategy and planning for the race completely off. You might be short on spare parts. You have to focus everything on just rebuilding the car.
Right.
And finally, it can affect the driver psychologically and the whole team too. But thankfully, the most important thing is Tsunoda was okay.
Absolutely. The main thing. So just to quickly run through that top 10 grid order again for the race. It's Piastri, Verstappen, Russell, Norris, Alonso, Sainz, Albon, Stroll, Hadjar, and Gasly.
Quite a mix in there.
A pretty interesting mix, isn't it?
Definitely. You've got the usual suspects, kind of, but alongside some unexpected names high up, sets the stage for a potentially exciting start.
Yeah, exactly. So looking ahead to the race, you've got that really intriguing front row fight, Piastri versus Verstappen.
In the main event, perhaps.
Then you've got Alonso and Sainz starting way higher than maybe expected, especially with that medium tire choice in quali.
Keep an eye on them.
And Ferrari, obviously, they'll be super motivated to recover in front of the Tifosi. Plus, Verstappen's worries about the soft tires, that could be a huge factor in strategy and tire wear. It really feels like we're set for a potentially unpredictable Grand Prix, doesn't it?
Precisely. The strategic calls, especially tires, when to pit. That's going to be absolutely crucial. Will those guys who qualified on mediums actually have an advantage over the race distance?
Good question.
How will Ferrari try and salvage something from way back there? And can Piastri actually convert this amazing pole into a win against a, let's face it, very determined Verstappen?
Yeah.
So many interesting storylines to follow.
Okay, so for you, the learner, the key things to take away. Piastri's brilliant pole, Russell's strategic gamble paying off, at least in qualifying.
Yeah.
Ferrari's unexpected struggles at home, and those strong showings from Alonso and Sainz. Qualifying definitely gave us plenty of surprises. Sets the scene for maybe a very unpredictable race.
Which leads to a good question for you to think about. You know, given what Verstappen said about those soft tires, how might the different strategies play out in the race? How much will that impact the final result? Do you think this qualifying order will mostly stick, or are we in for big changes, lots of overtaking? And what about Alonso? Does this strong qualifying signal something bigger for Aston Martin's development this season?
Definitely some fascinating points to chew on there. We'd encourage you to dive into the race analysis afterwards, see how it all played out.
Yeah, see how qualifying translated to the results.
Maybe even look into Imola's history for Alonso, or just research how tire strategies generally shape race outcomes. It's often the key.
Absolutely. Run it, Well, thanks for joining us in this deep dive.